Mike, love having you on the show. And Mike asked me a great question. How am I doing? How much time you got?
The clock's ticking. I'm on the clock.
Man, how am I doing? I gotta tell you, I love that we're starting with that question to you and the audience. A good 8 out of 10. It's not, there's days I'm a 4 or 5. I think today is an 8.
Is that a COVID 8 or is that like a regular life 8?
No, I think it's a good life 8. I think it's just nice. You know, we're Mike and I are hanging out right after Memorial Day weekend. And it was just nice. It was like a little bit like a sense of normal. It was just nice to go out and see people. I'm vaccinated 2 shots and it was nice. So great question. Right after the holiday break. And I don't know if I'll be at a 10, but so I'm a good 8. How was your weekend? How are you doing?
I'm well. I mean, I'm tired, but I'm well. The weekend was long and interesting. I'm in the middle of selling both of my homes. So that's interesting. You know, nice long weekend with people trotting through my house. It feels really weird post-COVID.
Yeah.
But I'm well. I'm well. You know, considering everything else in the world and where we are, you know, now a year later, I'm fantastic.
I got vaccinated June. Things are starting to open up. I got an interesting conversation for you, right? On this audible of a riff. I had a podcast on Friday. The person on my show is a data scientist, and that data scientist was told they have to be back at work. And I spoke to that person on the day they're back at work. And there was a saltiness to the conversation where the person is like, I code all day. I'm now in the office doing exactly what I've been doing at home. We can't meet in the conference rooms. You still have to wear a mask to be in the elevator. And it made me feel that maybe the next 90 days is a little bit of anger, not for that person. I'm just saying the workforce in certain roles, right? Because you're used to this flow, you're used to working, and now you're like, great, I'm still hitting the keys. But I don't know your thoughts. I mean, is the next 90 days, not a forever, but is the emotion of the workforce a little bit of saltiness for the next 90 days?
I think there's going to be friction. I mean, anytime you change people's life patterns, especially us, you know, data kind of people, we tend to like process and organization and engineers as well, which we all kind of overlap in some way. We're all very, I would say, conscientious, and in my experience, people that are conscientious, we have these byproducts that are like our daily routines are very, you know, there are routines, and when you change those routines, there's going to be a natural resistance to that, or so it seems. I know that whenever I change like a meeting pattern with my team, there's almost always revolt in some way. So I would assume that,
this is a big one. Yeah, because I feel like it was very well documented by both mainstream media and others. May, June, offices are opening. I think everyone has covered that, at least in the US. I think that one was well covered. Bless you. I think that one was well covered. May, June, certain companies going to have you back. I think they got that right. The emotional part of it is, gosh, June is like right when the summer's happening, right when you wish you could have summer Fridays, right when you wish you can leave early on Thursday. There's just other things happening if you waited till June to get back and your boss is like, you know what, enjoy your summer, we'll do September, people will still be a little bit salty in September. You don't want to come back December 1st. I don't have the answer. I'm just asking the question.
I mean, I'm really probably the worst person to ask this, because since probably 2018, I've been working remotely, either with my own businesses or with my current company at Aptive Resources. So being in person, I enjoy it, but I don't for me, it's like a treat. I get to go see people in person, and I've done that a couple times in DC recently, and that's nice. But I think I'd be salty personally, but I really don't have a good beat on. I don't
know. It's just things I'm picking up. It's the luxury of being able to meet a lot of people, executives, on these calls and stuff. The other thing I was excited to talk to you about is I love fellow founders. We are rarefied air and we understand pain. When you look back at your founder journey and pain, advice, tips you want to share? It is rarefied air when I get to speak with a fellow brother or sister who's a founder.
So I think there are a lot of founders out there that never actually lifted off. So there are more of us than you think. It's just there are a few, or many, that probably don't want to talk about it. So I served in the military and was Army Special Forces for about 10 years, just shy of 10 years. So as a Green Beret, there's that kind of bona fides where it's like people know that you're used to the suck, and that's kind of how I feel when I see other people who are founders. And so if I had tips, it would just be to find other people that have some understanding of what you're going through, whether that's a small business owner or just other people that are grinding. Because this, don't be fooled. To start a business and have any modicum of success, any kind of success, it's going to take a lot of work. And it's not like the 9-to-5 work where it's like, oh, my day was tiring. It's more like the 9-to-5 plus, kids running around plus staying up into the middle of the night to fix some error somewhere, kind of work. So I think a good support group, or a support group sounds like a dirty word, but but a group of friends that have similar experiences are really nice. I have a small accountability group with some friends that are former special operations guys that are also entrepreneurs, and that helps a lot, because when I run into issues or I just need to vent, they can usually laugh at me and explain how they got through something similar, or vice versa, and that's really helpful. I'm also a part of several startup groups where we have private Slack channels that are super helpful. And then I have a lot of friends that are just way more successful than me that I can reach out to and ask them, what they did during this time. So I think a network is the key. Everything you're saying
there's a lot of gold there. And thank you for your service. That's always just see people who are just made it through. That is some tough stuff. The community aspect is important. I think there's a great way for our listeners to understand it's okay to ask, raise your hand, okay not to know. But if you're the CEO, you better kind of learn fast. So it's always good to ask questions. But when you ask for advice, make sure you deploy as fast as you can. When I've mentored founders, I say to them, you can get on my calendar anytime. And what I've learned is they get on my calendar for advice, and I'll give you my advice. Sometimes you want to hear it, sometimes you don't want to hear it. We'll talk through about what are the next steps. We'll have an agreed upon next steps. Then I say to them, get back on my calendar. Sadly, so many people that get back on my calendar when I say, let's check in. We had a really good conversation. I thought we agreed you were going to think about this. You were going to think about this. And then I can't tell you how many people are like, Burning Man was last week, so I had to go there. My sister was getting married, so I wanted to go see my family for about 2 weeks and do all that. And these are not bad things. Like I get it. But when you start compiling these things, because I wanted to say, well, if you were working at X company and you only had 5 or 15 days of vacation days because they were accrued, are you really going to go to Burning Man for 5 days? I don't know that answer. So I think there is this part of, hey, it's my own company. I really can manage my time, and I'm really good at managing my time. And all of a sudden you lost the quarter, right? It's gone. Like, it's just amazing. Have you seen that on your side where just the discipline or whatever you want? I have not.
The lack of discipline. So okay.
Or that weird tangent where everyone's like, oh, I was away and I got to go here. Like,
so priorities, right? What really matters to you? Don't worry about everything else. So if they're like, for me, it's like my businesses, my family, and now I have a 9 to 5 that also factors in there somewhere. If they're listening, it's really high on my list. If they're not, it comes after family and my own businesses, right? So understanding your priorities, like you have to sacrifice somewhere, and it's a matter of doing your cost benefit analysis and understanding that opportunity cost. If you want to be a business owner that's successful and go beyond just lifestyle, it's a grind. I've done it a few times, and I've also failed a bunch, and it sucks when you put everything you have into something. But I think it's actually worse to fail and then know that you left something on the table. I don't want to leave anything on the table.
Same way.
And I think that's a mindset thing.
That's the same way. And it's fail fast. And I think what you said about the mindset, I think sadly, some of that I also think goes down to hiring decisions. Like, you can go through your vetting process, but it's the same thing. Like, as adults, like, there are certain traits of people and the quality of work. It's not going to change. We want to sit down and upskill them, but if it doesn't change, it gets tougher and tougher. I don't have the answer to that either, but it's, at startup, when you only have X weeks of cash, those decisions are important. When you're at a major company that's not, worried that people can, I think, skirt their first year or 2.
Yes, that's been a huge problem for us at my current, because I think COVID really plays heavily into that over the last year and a half. But in startups, it's even worse. Like, you really have about 2 weeks to a month to make a decision if that person is really going to be able to carry their weight. Because if you wait any longer, you're losing that time plus the hiring time, recruiting and hiring, and then ramp up time for the next person. And if you lose 2 months, 3 months for a critical position in your org, your small startup, like, you're dead. I mean, unless you have tons of money. It's
100%. It's the truth. That's kind of, so when we think about COVID and remote work, there are a lot of winners. There's some industries that are losers, but I think it's nice that people are able, biasing towards technical, but it's not biasing again towards technical. It's nice that you can do that kind of job in almost any place. Technical. There's certain, I'm using a lot of Miro boards to get through the brainstorming session. Some people make fun of me, and I'm like, I get it, because it's like, let's go to Miro board, but it's like, I need visual and I need audio. Like, to me, I need those 2 inputs. Some people need one. For me, I need to kind of see it. And then, since we're talking about so many deliverables, I like everyone to agree that they see it also. So no one's like, well, I didn't hear you say that. I'm like, it's not perfect, but I'm doing the best I can to make sure the devil is in the details. What are your thoughts?
I agree. Communication is the most important thing that happens in business. It's the blood, it's the lifeline of a business. Like, if you're not properly communicating what's happening or passing information, then you're dead. So We experience this a lot in my current business, and it's fascinating. It's difficult, but I think that so much is lost when you're not in person because we communicate. I would argue that a lot of communication, depending on where you are on the spectrum, I know that I have a tendency to turn into a little bit of a antisocial person when I'm writing too much code. So I understand, but depending on where, like from what position you operate, so much of communication is non-verbal, and we lose all of that when we're on Slack. People getting angry at each other or thinking they're slighting each other because all you see is plain text, and I think that's lacking.
Right.
Whereas if you're in person,
I just want to go back to, that's the third thing, right? Audio, visual, and the body language. Like when someone is just confused on the topic. Sometimes it's me. Like you can see that. So then. Right. I mean, I do like the grid view because I can just see all that. So I think that's, for me, why we started this show is to break the self-isolation, to meet fellow data enthusiasts, make a friend.
I think we're friends already, Darren.
Yeah. Break up the loneliness. I know but you know what? My day is now 8.1. You got a 0.1.
I'll take it.
But, and now for us, we want to connect people. So are there people in the community? Is there an archetype that you want to connect with? And I know we had a list of things to talk about, but I think we had a pretty nice conversation that people would want to listen to. So I appreciate you being flexible. And we went to some great places. Now, are there people you want to network with that we can make one intro to, a couple for you?
I'm always open to networking. I enjoy helping people who are struggling with some stage of their career. That's always interesting. Or I mean, I like people who want to become entrepreneurs. Like I find them fascinating, and it's fun to kind of get in the hot cooker together and try to figure out ways to solve problems. So I'm really open.
Okay, cool. Yeah. No, that's awesome. Well, it's nice to meet a new friend, and thanks for being on the show today.
Of course. Thanks for having me, Darren.